Hello and welcome back to String Zero. We will be continuing where we left off, which, if you recall, is after having a conversation with Tarrolf's son. I'm forgetting his name. Wow, I forgot his name. I don't know how I remembered Tarrolf, but I forgot the other guy's name. Well, anyways, within this conversation, we found out that while the activities of the dad and even Tarrolf himself are sort of kept, quote-unquote, secret, the son, meaning the other guy, not Ravy, kind of have an idea of what's going on, and that it's not really safe. It's kind of funny because the story started off with Ravy wanting to run away with the big tiger dude. Kavir, I think his name is, yeah. And it's kind of like just shifted, maybe not shifted focus, but like sort of, it's revealing a whole bunch of things that are going on in the background that Ravy wasn't aware of. Particularly with his father's dealings with people that, Tarrolf, basically. Which could put his father in danger. And towards the end of the last update, we finally had a talk, or at least started the talk with, I forgot the singer's name, the is it a jackalope? Who was telling him, like, hey, your dad is about to do something bad. I kind of need you to tail him and maybe stop him. I think that's what was going to happen. Or that's what actually happened. I don't really remember. I read a lot of things. Everything just sort of mushes together and I'm trying to remember what actually happened. I just remember the bit with Tarrolf's son because I actually like his design. It's a pity that I didn't win the contest. I really wanted that drawing with Tarrolf's son. Anyways, but yeah. So yeah, that's about as much as I remember happening. And the whole conversation with the singer guy was supposed to see whether or not he is a good fit to be a jazz runner, I think. I'm trying to remember. Again, it's been a while. Maybe not a while, but you know what I mean. Anyways, so yeah, we're gonna continue from there. So yeah, without further ado, let's continue String Zero. Something about this back and forth feels extremely familiar. In fact, it feels like I'm receiving messages through my neural interface, but without the hardware. The jazz works in mysterious ways. We might not always be on great terms, but I'm not in the business of squealing on my family. Oh look, Ravy has a little picture now. Good, because that's not what this is about. You want to join us? You're going to need to brush up on your politics. Especially after what I saw tonight. I sink a little bit more into my stool. Tarrolf, Dad, Derek. Now Crown too? I don't trust him, but regardless of his motives, your father's a moderating force between many different factions. Best if you see it in action. I narrow my eyes at the antlered man on the stage, who is now having some sort of mock gunfight. What's the point of this performance anyway? Most of the audience is as high as fuck, so I can't imagine it's for them. Whatever. I pluck a bamboo cocktail pick from a nearby crystal glass and then turn to look at Dad, scrutinizing him. What are you getting at, Crown? How do you know all this? Experience and mistakes. You're about to look down a very deep well. I'm giving you the choice to dive in before you fall in. Swim before you sink. I chew at the end of the pick, hearing echoes of Derek. I wonder how well they know each other. Yeah, and if I walk away? Somehow, I can hear his snort in my brain. Good luck. And then right on cue, Dad pulls the mini pad from his pocket. A few taps and his smile fades, briefly. Dad's up to something. Follow him, and you'll see what I'm talking about. He's scheduled an important meeting for just about now, while everyone's distracted and Tarrolf's engaged somewhere else. Ah, it seems that I need to go check on something. Excuse me, Yuri. Ravy? You're right. He's leaving. I'm torn between my curiosity and Dad's monologue earlier about keeping me out of things for my own safety. I'm not eager for another Tarrolf encounter. I get why you want me to see this, but what's it proving? Fuck up side. You helped me play a fast one on Tarrolf earlier, so I know that there's something to you. What I need now is to see how you manage risk without the city's biggest shit stain looming over you. You showed cool under pressure once. But I need more from Kavir's newest Joy Boy. Joy Boy? Even if I weren't interested, his shitty attitude makes me want to do this just to throw it in his face. I turn to Yuri and wave a goodbye. I'm gonna go too. I think my jazz blockers are bugging out. I don't want to be all that. I gesture towards the blissed out crowd. Uriel nods at me, eyeing Dad a final time before returning to her bartending duties. Wise. It feels directed at the both of us. Dad brushed it off, waving briefly before merging with the crowd and heading towards the stairs to the second floor. I decide to linger near Yuri for a moment, watching him go. If he's headed upstairs, there's only one place that he'd have the privacy to do anything illegal. The secure meeting rooms. Derek was right. With camouflage cameras on their own internal network, remote security monitoring isn't possible in those rooms. There's supposed to be no surveillance at all, but Dad doesn't like leaving things to chance. So for safety and discretion, there's only a single hidden access point, accessible only with Dad's biometrics. Easy. I toss my chew to pick into a dirty glass. I'm following him. Smart. I push from the bar and slip into the crowd, heading towards the stairs. How far is your range with this, ability anyways? Far enough. The issue is time. The jazz pulls in places with high emotional energy. Once the performance ends and people settle down, the connection will be harder to maintain, or fade entirely, so focus on your task. That sounds familiar. Ah, Ravy. I freeze, pulse suddenly racing. That voice is seared into my psyche. The hand that he wounded briefly aches. I consider dashing away, pretending that I can't hear him. But then a heavy paw rests on my shoulder, anchoring me. It squeezes companionably. I was hoping to run into you again. I wanted to show you something. I take a slow breath, trying to find whatever small measure of peace that's been eluding me all fucking day. Huh? I glance over my shoulder. I'm not interrupting anything, am I? Another breath, I turn towards him. The crowd gives him space, like an aura. Like they know better. But his smile isn't menacing, not like it was before. That doesn't make me feel any better though. You are, actually. I need to deal with some buggy tech. Upstairs. Far away from you. Shit. I run into Tarrolf. Fuck that man with the spit. Maybe I don't hate Crown entirely. Just play it cool. You can't know what we're up to. Okay, right. Yeah, easy. I swallow. Tarrolf drops his hand to my side. Perfect. We're going in the same direction. I'm sure you won't mind walking with me for a moment. His palm presses against the small of my back. It feels less like walking and more like being pushed. I try to glance discreetly back to the bar, but the place is just too crowded. There's no way that I can signal Yuri to get me out of this. And where the fuck is Dad? It's been less than a minute, and I've already lost him. You're stiff. Relax, Ravy. I just wanted to point out a few important people to you. One of the benefits of working with us, Aulos, is connections, after all. He smiles down at me. Bitch probably read my dossier and thinks that he knows me. String 0 clearance. Which means that he also read Dad's. He must have. Working with the Aulos, or for the Aulos. Clever boy, Ravy. But take your mind off the vagaries of business for a moment. I'm certain that you're familiar with the regular celebrities who visit, but do you have any idea the true caliber of people this place attracts? I wonder if you realize the uniqueness of a place where the highs so freely mingle with the lows. The crowd parts around him as he walks me through the club. For example, you see that wolf over there in the booth? He casually flicks a clawed finger towards a group of gangster-looking darwolves, chromed, jazzed, and gilded. One of them a bit more than the others, larger and older, his black and gold checked suit dripping with projected power. Father Arundariak of the Kinulak. Oh. You mean the Darwolf supremacist? The big wolf chuckles, patting my shoulder. A gross simplification, not entirely unwarranted. But tonight they're here to meet people, to be friendly. Loosen up. No harm in saying hello. The father notices Tarrolf, arms spread wide over the back of the booth's cushions. Electric eyes suddenly flick to mine. My breath catches. He up-nods. I swallow. See? Now you're friendly. He keeps his arm tight around me, showing me off like some kind of trophy. Over there, Vice President of Felix Motor Works. Smile now. I'm still reeling from making eye contact with one of the most violent men in the underworld. I manage a grimace, hoping it will satisfy him enough to let me leave. Ah, look. That's the AIS, Customer Identity Designer. Instead, I'm steered around the room. Firmatech's geoforming CSO. I feel like crawling up inside myself. PR coordinator of ICE News. Chatty, but useful. Sinking into purgatory. Starseed Overdrive's Senior Solutions Strategist over in the VIP booth. Raish's actual hell. Akasha's lead information visioneer. He just keeps going. Is there no way out? Why are you doing this? Simply allowing you to be seen, Ravy. Don't underestimate the benefits of being recognized by the powerful. Next over there, the Weasley Lomas in the tuxedo, Secretary of Neutronics. Geoffrey Dengon. Another name I know, President of Sepulture Security, VNet Lions, and a bunch of others. She looks a bit limp, given over to Crown Song. The sharp Darwolf woman to her side, however, does not. An assistant? Unfortunate she looks so stoned. I'd introduced you for the entertainment's sake, but she'd likely be drooly and dull. Yup. Damn shame. Well, this has been fun. Wouldn't want to kill the buzz of one of the most important people in town, though, so I should go. Now, Ravy, I know your powers of perception are better than that. It's a statement of strength that she's so unbothered. Try again. Look at her assistant. I squint. That's no assistant. Sure, there's an all-the-business trim fur and corporate power suit. But her eyes are shaded by integrated silver lenses. Jazz lines illuminate her fur, reinforced claws like jivs tap on a pad. That's... these names. Noin Shin-eyed Sarai. You'd know her as... Sarah Sign. I say it in spite of myself. Jazz runner legend, part of Jav's old crew. I thought she was dead. No one's heard from her or her team in months. A raid on the Lions network gone bad. I didn't even recognize her at first. I believe you kids would say that she went corporal. I realized that Tarrolf was watching me stare at her. He grins. I thought she was dead too. Briefly. But she's a true mercenary, swapping from punk hero to corporal bodyguard when it suited her interests. Strictly professional. Probably explains why she'd rather be thought of as dead. I wouldn't be so hard on her. She's alive after all. But Very good, Ravy. I didn't expect you to be so in tune. Now wave at Miss Sign. I weakly lift my hand. Miss Sign notes me with a stern glance. Sweet cow's holy cock. I can see you from the stage. It's been like 10 minutes. You need to get away from him or he'll parade you around all night. How? He's all over me. Easy. Be nasty and give him what he wants. Play the game. I hate everything you just said. Won't he see right through me? He will. But it won't matter. He won't stop until you make a move. He's testing you. I look up, adrenaline pumping. I hate how much of Kavir I see in the wolf's build. How similar their warmth. I might even find him handsome if it didn't make me feel like constantly swallowing bile. Does he know? Can he smell it? I draw in a slow breath. Tarrolf? It feels wrong saying that name so casually to his face. With all of his reputation and power, it feels beyond a slight of a station, beyond breaking decorum and more like violating some primal fundamental rule. Don't provoke the beast. He smiles down at me, all grim eyes and dire fangs. Fuck off. I'm not interested. His grin widens into a dark rictus. Well, that's embarrassing. One big paw slides up and down my side, claws scraping over cloth. The other gently thumbs my chin, guiding me to look up over all the people that he just pointed out, and who are now all looking back. Such rudeness, and in front of all these people. My heartbeat thunders. I feel like crumbling into dust. As a secretary of the company, I should make an example of you. But I do prefer my partners have a spine. He lifts his paw from my face and ruffles my hair, laughing loudly towards the crowd. All those eyes turn away. So, congratulations. I see you're learning how this works. I suddenly realize that I had forgotten to breathe. I take a single, shuddering breath, and he smiles. A parting note, Pop. Some advice to spare you further trouble. He gestures towards a group under the second floor overhang. They look like normal people, granted their cyberware-like juice. Less chrome and more jazz. Laborers, probably, with some tech punks mixed in. You won't be able to avoid the blood goals, not if you keep getting involved with runners. Oh, they'll spin you tales of workers' rights and deflecting company abuses. And many of them will even be true and ardent believers. He crouches down a little, looking me in the eye. But worker politics are still politics. Don't think that they'll be any different from me. He squeezes my side again and then releases me. I take a step away to regain some sense of composure, eyeing him for a moment. A spine, huh? A partner with a spine wouldn't just leave, not after all that. This is just another play, another move in his game. So I clench a fist to calm my nerves. And I step back. Why do you care? You think that I don't know people the gangs have fucked over? We lived on the streets before Dad worked up to this place, and I've been active in cyberspace even longer. I know what's up. He likes that. The fullness of him crowds me. Good. I press my heels against the floor and push back. Worried about me? He leans even closer, his breath hot against my ear. Worrying is for the likes of accountants and secretaries. Secondary men. Just live your life, Ravy. Because remember, whatever you do, there will always be room for you, me. I practically feel his muzzle against my ear. And opportunities. He then pulls away, thumbing a fang, indulgent. Now run along. I'm sure you have something illicit to get involved in. I retreat a little, suddenly unbalanced. No, I won't let his game ruin the rest of this shitty day. I turn and disappear into the crowd, heading towards where I last saw Dad. Oh, thank fuck. It worked. Sorry, kid. Vomit later. There are some tech punks loitering at the stairs, mostly Darwolves like Tarrolf and Derek, and all drunk on Crown's voice. I recognize a few of them from the Blood Golds, group Tarrolf pointed out. Dressed in outrageous punk fashion, they're hard to forget, holographic, translucent jackets and pants, wires weaved into dyed hair and fur-like circuitry, faux military hats with neon marquees, spitting light and anti-corporal slogans. I feel wary after my talk with Tarrolf. Darwolf punks come in two types, either a special kind of rebel, enemies of Kenelak, and all that the company stands for, or trenders. Normally, I'd try to suss out the difference by using the complicated tech punk lingo that defines the movement. But with the pressure of time ticking, I struggle to find the words. So, hey. I gesture to the wall. Barathar, yo, can you pick a side? I need to get past. Fuck off, yak truck. We see you with the big corporal wolf. She spits. Yeah, go back home to the Shroud. Corporal collaborator. Ugh, great. This is my house. I hate explaining this to people, and I don't have the time right now. Derek has me on edge. Tarrolf has me on edge. Everything has me on edge. You mean all this? She gestures broadly to the club's decorations, its opulence. All it takes is something dumb like Crown's nationalistic stage antics to stoke anti-Shroud sentiment. Even in the Eat the Rich. Dad's propaganda comment might have been on the money. Maybe Tarrolf's too. So I take a breath, reaching for the words more carefully this time. Farai, kayake. You want me gone? Okay. I thump my fist to my heart, a tech punk salute, and then gesture towards the stairs. Just make a focam path, sasai. Hat punk clicks her tongue at me, giving me a harsh once-over and then a sharp up nod. Yeah, sister, I'm one of you. Just give me a crazy hat. You can, the rest talk? Yeah, Shrad dishect, no more. Gesture to my earpiece. Scrubs like me don't get to use tech in Shrad Dashfar. It's too rare, too holy. Fruck the Shrad. I point over my shoulder, back towards Tarrolf. Fuck the company. I thump my chest again. Barathar, now. She glances between me, my tech, and the performance, looking conflicted. Whatever self-righteous furrow she had seems to drain away. Alright, Kaiki. No trouble with Barathar. She casts her gaze to the rest of the group, nodding. Beta? There is a murmur of assent. Okay, but... She points at me. Bekale Big Wolf no more. You can? All of our punk buddies gather around and stare me down like I'm one step away from going full corpo. It's fucking degrading. As if Tarrolf gave me a choice. But fine, whatever. Yeah, Taken. She extends her fist towards me, much like Juice did before. I bump hers with mine, and we both pull our hands away with horns. Ocha Orab, Kaeke. Ocha Orab. A few more tense fist bumps, some muttering, and they make room for me. How did Dad weave his skinny ass past these guys anyways? Problem? Bitch, it's crowded. Give me a minute. Someone's getting fussy. A remote shock pin. That's what I need to invent. Stick it on someone to give them a good jolt whenever they're being a huge cunt. I weave around 20 or so more bodies and then veer towards the wall and a security door. This one just needs a passcode. I step into a short hallway with a huff. There's only a handful of doors here, each leading to a private room. I quietly walk straight to the back of the hall and pull a jazzed-up utility tool from my pocket, squeezing the grip and thumbing a switch. A beam of holographic hard light sizzles from its emitter, materialize. A beam of holographic hard light sizzles from its emitter, material and firm. Flathead. The emitter pulses and warps the beam into a screwdriver. I use it to pry off a small panel from the wall. Doing so reveals the access port to this hallway's security architecture. I set aside the panel, pocket the tool, and then reach for the back of my earpiece to retrieve its remote connector plug, inserting it into the wall. An insubstantial holographic wire sizzles from the wall to my piece. Alright, now we can get started. I quickly navigate to the active security feeds. Yeah, I know. I call up Dad's biometrics, which I have saved for no particular reason, and then run through the connection. I swipe through the feeds one by one. The first room is empty, second room empty. The third room... I see Dad sitting at a table with two figures who are blurred and fragmented. Their voices are distorted. One of them must be broadcasting a complicated masking protocol. They're probably a netrunner. Clever. I'm running out of stage time, kid. Well, improvise, I don't know. Entertain them, entertainer. I quickly run through a handful of counter-hack functions. But I'm clearly not as good as whoever this is. I only have one powerful hacking tool. Storytime is a last resort, given the day's earlier events. Welp. A few swipes and I deploy my Quandary Daemon, an advanced logical algorithm that can interfere with other programs enough to allow one of my simpler hacks to slip through. Honestly, I don't really know how it works, but it does. And... Sueva, I'm in. The blurred faces swiftly defragment and become clear, as do their voices. I start recording. Okay, that's with some punky-looking feathered lady. And next to her is... No way. My heart starts pounding. Screwed. I know exactly who that is. And worse, he knows exactly who I am. Maybe if I play my cards right, Kraut won't know that everything that's about to happen was my fault. And, some other dude. Some indeed. I groan into my palm. It's my ex. Punky and feathered, huh? Interesting. That'd be Ravy. Alias, of course. Head of the Cybersea Collective. You know the... Fuck me twice. I don't think that I've had a more confounding day in my life. I know. Oust the chairman, dismantle the company, basic tech punk stuff. Shut up for a second. Standing next to Ravy is the Quandary Daemon's original designer. My ex-boyfriend. He didn't just code the Quandary either, he trained it by hand. He told me he fine-tuned each of the many thousands of nodes in its algorithm. He wanted it to be perfect. It was a gift commemorating the first day that we met. He'll recognize the program immediately. If you know the CSC, then you know how very bad it looks for your dad to be having a private meeting with the chairman's personal boogie woman. Wait, you said that she's with someone? She should be alone. Who is it? Quiet, I'm listening. If I leak the daemon on patch notes, will he think that this was a coincidence? He'd be so pissed. I don't have the time. Crown is counting on me, for whatever that's worth. But Kavir... I can't let down Kavir. Get the jive, Aaron. I'm not Tarrolf, and I don't have time for production. Her language is crisp, posh, not exactly what I expected. You said that you have important information that had been delivered personally? Relay it. Of course, in a moment. Who is this with you? Insurance. Does insurance have a name? I'd hate to be rude. Ravy looks to her associate. Your call. The man blinks, as if he'd been focused on something. Probably using his neural interface optical display, similar to mine, but all wired up to his brain. I have a pretty good guess at who he was distracted by. I shiver. Jonah. Uh-huh. Ravy nods, some wordless message passing between them. Security? I close my eyes, barely daring to breathe. It's off. As he promised. What? Even if he checked just before I jacked in, he'd be alerted as soon as the system was turned on. I guess the Quandary is better than I thought. I'm the performer here, kid. Enough with the suspense. Kel on a cracker, he's needy. Dude calls himself Jonah, but you'd know him as... I hesitate. I don't want to betray the guy, but Crown can't see the feed, so I wager the risk is pretty minimal. Disc blows. Really? The netblinder in the flesh? What other netrunner is gonna have the street rep to get away with a name like Blows? I just have a hard time believing that you'd know on sight someone who's made a reputation of always running solo and never being seen. Blech, fair enough. I know because we met in person once, and only once. Right before he joined the CSC, he asked me to join with him. I didn't. End of story. If you're right, why the fuck haven't you jacked out yet? This is over if you get caught. It's fine, I'm concealed for now. I think. Besides, I need this. I take a slow breath. I'm using his own software against him. First, that's stone cold. Second, what, he just gave you? I glance again at the feed, still no reaction to the quandary. It doesn't look like I'm about to be busted. It should be safe to tell Crown the truth. Gifted. Why in all unholy rage would a big shot, paranoid netrunner care about a no-name foreign kid like you? You're foreign too, asshole. I sigh. If you must know, you're damn right I must. We met randomly by avatar in the cyberbar a few years ago. As far as I knew, he was just some lonely guy who wanted company. Naturally, he was in a burner avatar. Anyways, he eventually invited me to a private space partitioned off between the local net and the cyber sea, and started giving me netrunner lessons in exchange for stories from back home. He really liked the ones about Waj and Sowaj in particular, the big spirits. Otherwise, no probing personal questions, no past, just teaching tales. I check back on the security feed to make sure that I'm not missing anything important. Alodamarek will be staying here, so this will be the last that we can meet for some time. Sounds like he's just spilling beans that I already know. After a few months, he wanted more. I didn't. That's it. I didn't even know the name Blows until he told me in our last meeting. I knew him by a different name before then. How fucking romantic. Hearing him laugh in my head is extremely unpleasant. You're out of your cow's damn mind. You really expected me to believe that you and Blows had some kind of cyber fling? I don't owe you a personal history lesson. Ha! You know what? You're right. It doesn't matter. You could be an extremely skilled liar, but after seeing Tarrolf sniff out your ass, gaining the trust of one of the net's most notorious runners doesn't seem so far-fetched. Not to mention Kavir. Guess you're more than just some joy boy after all. You're the joy boy. Fuck off. I look back at the security feed. Seknan. I'm sure it was an alias, but that's the name my feelings were attached to. Still somewhat attached, I guess. Ugh. What do you even want from me? One more interesting nugget will do. Fine, I'm tuning back in. The remote surveillance tunnel you provided worked as intended. I shut it down, as promised, once Tarrolf left. Shit, Derek was right. It was intentional. Then you heard what Alodamarek said about the research lab discovered in the roots of virtuosite, arcology, yes? We did, but some things are still unclear. What exactly did you find? Do you know? Unfortunately, I don't know what exactly, only that it resulted in precise coordinates. But I do believe that I know why all the sudden movement. It's about the virtuous AI, isn't it? The room is suddenly silent. Both Dad and Neve stare at him. They're going on about something called virtuous AI. Crown's tone is suddenly dead serious. Listen to everything they say. Why, yes. That is my presumption, at least. How did you know? Ruiner myth, Jazz Runner Club chatter bullshit. The biggest score, the treasure of treasures, that kind of thing. Neve seems to gather her wits. She clears her throat. Don't oversell it, Jonah. It's a fantasy. It's only got mystique because it's classified under the Dangerous Technologies Censorship Act. I've seen a lot of strange things in cyberspace, Neve. Network anomalies, data knots, information storms, rogue AI. At the very least, I'm convinced that there's a lot that we don't know. While that may be true, I have my feet firmly planted in pragmatism, Jonah. We know the chairman has been chasing it for years. And we know nothing's ever been discovered. You attested to that yourself after hacking the Lion's network. But the Assembly's recent purchase on the Corporal families to rein in the chairman's spending. Well, it's convenient timing, don't you think? Maybe. But there must be something of it if the chairman's so invested. I shouldn't have to remind you how much money the company funnels into various, often pointless committee pet projects. Fair enough. It may not be so pointless. This time Neve and Blows look at each other, then Aaron. Explain. The virtuous AI is real, or at least the location is. The coordinates lead to a secret virtuosity R&D facility. The woman's eyes narrow. What? You didn't think to lead with that? It begs for clarification, which I was getting to. For Cal's sake, Aaron, not every meeting of ours needs to build with the tension of a 3-act tragedy. Spit it out. Very well. I can't confirm what they're looking for is real, but my sources have confirmed this isn't boondoggle. He holds up his pad to project a map of the Laotian circuit, ancient subway tunnels branching out from the original Laotian metro. You are familiar with this map, yes? Of course. He taps the pad, a handful of new tunnels appear in red. The circuit stalkers have been mapping the circuit's remains for ages, as I am sure you're aware. However, the Gants kept this little nugget to themselves. Some sort of service tunnels? For volatile and likely at the time illegal laboratory materials, yes. As far as I know, neither VSI or Coordinates are fully aware of them. That seems unlikely. The ones that they know about have all been duds, either so ruined as to not be worthy of excavation, or they all lead to empty way stations for cargo transfer to the surface. In either case, none of use was ever discovered, so the company's been in no great hurry to explore further. Then where did you get this? Jazz ran a raid on a stalker hideout. It went poorly. Runners almost killed to the man. I heard about that. Wasn't I1 their runner? I'm told that he was operating remotely, but managed to retrieve these schematics from the stalker databanks before the job went sour. The woman clicks her tongue. I've warned you about I1. That tragedy could very well have been his fault. Perhaps, but Providence aside, I1 sold the information to his fixer, who verified its authenticity and then sold it to me. At a substantial markup, I might add. Though it would have been much larger had he been fully aware of the data's value. Enough aggrandizement. She waves a hand. Get to the point. Dad zooms in on one tunnel, seeming to cut away from the main lines and heading out on its own deep into the white. The tunnel beyond this point is impassable, but if you follow its trajectory just a bit further, it blows right into the chairman's secret area. Indeed, the very same area the chairman's been obsessed with. It's not conclusive, I realize, but it is strongly suggesting that the chairman's aware of something we're not. He waves the projection of tunnels away. And with the discovery of more precise coordinates and this recently charted expedition, it's enough to be concerning, I agree. She sighs and presses the palm of her hand against her forehead. Momentarily entertaining the idea that such a thing as virtuous AI even exists, it would be an absolute disaster if the chairman got a hold of it. It wouldn't just be the CSS's problem. We could pull in our allies. Yes, we could, and that is the point, isn't it? What do you mean? Whatever is there, we can't let the chairman or Tarrolf get close to it. This knowledge forces our hand to act and intercept. Right, so what's the problem? Politics is the problem, Jonah. Strategy. If we feel pressure to act, we can be absolutely certain Tarrolf has come to the same conclusion. She pauses and then turns to Dad, suddenly furious. He wanted you to tell us, didn't he? To force us into revealing our hand? Not in so many words, but he certainly made clear he expected the information to leak. Hence his behavior. Naturally, he has no evidence that we're in contact. Even if he did, I doubt that he'd act on it, for this very reason. If we overcommit, he'll be able to gauge our resources and potentially sniff out our allies. She drums her manicured claws against the table as she studies the wood grain. But if we undercommit and this virtuous AI fantasy is true, that would mean at best unmitigated safe access to the wild cybersea. They could find untold caches of lost data and technology. And at worst, the company could potentially find the tech that they need to regain additional control of the cybersea, not just safe passage. If they can do that, they can crack down on the local net, eliminate the data havens, sever communications between all our allies and resistance cells. Organized resistance would become impossible. Dad shakes his head. More than that. Theoretically, the chairman could become another tail spinner. Neve's claws stop. She looks up, incredulous. Don't be ludicrous, Aaron. Our recorded history is spotty because of the singularity catastrophe, true. But that doesn't mean gods were in any way involved. Well, wait. Why not? Not gods exactly, but jazz singers and other similar sorts of people exist, and we all know what jazz tech can do. Is it such a stretch to consider that tail spinners were once real people who had extraordinary talents? Jazz tech came from somewhere after all. What if it's just a matter of finding the right blueprints, the right power source? Neve studies blows for a long time, her brows furrowing tightly. I've no interest in metaphysical conjecture, Jonah. You're seriously suggesting a single, real person could have what it takes to kill millions and ruin the world, just like Raish? Or attempt to save it, just like Kalan? Indeed, such a person would both wield incredible power and shoulder an incredible burden. To them, reality would be a blank tapestry upon which to weave their wishes. They would have all the threads that they need to spin together such a story. Wait. They could change all the rules. Take control. What? Or everything. You wouldn't know anything about that, would you, NP? Oh, fuck. My whole system locks up. Bold to use a quandary like this, and so poorly. Against me, of all people. Ugh. So I figured you must have some stake in this. Betrayal's never been your style. What do I even say? It's nothing personal. That'd be a shitty jazz runner thing to do. Professional. I was just asked to listen. I didn't know that it was you. Maybe not at first, but you could have jacked out at any time. I even sat there and waited. I would have let you go. But now it's too late for that. So answer my question and I'll consider not putting you on the CS's shit list. Who are you listening for, and why? It's just a stupid jazz runner test. Really, a bug, Aaron. I'm sorry that I heard any of it. This isn't the kind of thing that you can just apologize for, NP. This is the kind of information that gets people killed. You, your friends, me, people in the CSC. I'll forget that I heard anything. Not good enough. I'm deleting your recordings and backups. Your saving grace is that I don't detect any transmissions, so it's just the information in your head that's the problem. How can I make this better? You can't. But you can make it not worse. If I heard about any of this information leaking, or you get involved in the CSC business again, it won't be my call. I thought you were better than any of this. The CSC is bigger than me. The CSC is the tide, a movement that can't be stopped. They will drown you. Wait, Sinan. He cuts the connection. My deck shuts off. Sliding down to the floor, I bury my face against an arm and swallow hard. I think I'm gonna be sick. Well, I'm about to walk off stage. What are they saying? I can't even tell them, can I? Blows counterhacked me and almost put me on the CSC blacklist. Yeah, that'll look great. Cal, what will Kavir think? Our relationship is already weird. Fuck, I should never have been a part of this. Ravy? Stupid. I'll forget everything that I said. How could you have trusted that? How can I make this better? What a shitty thing to ask. Of course there's no... Listen. Wait. I stand. Maybe there is. What did Dad say? Change all the rules? Take control? Yeah, he says similar things in the past. But this time, it feels different. I've never successfully pushed the limits of my power before. Maintaining focus has always been too challenging, or Dad scared me off with warnings. I look at my hands. But if truth is really just sand, can it be furnaced? The only furnace? Can I create the life that I want? Can I become some sort of god? A tail spinner? Ravy! It seemed far-fetched, but then again, so is everything about story time. I squeeze my hands into fists. I brush past all the warnings. If I'm truly this powerful, I have nothing to fear. Let's see what I can do. I close my eyes. Listen. And enter the story time. Reality and color shift. Neon and pixels. I perceive the hallway as it is and as it was. The building as it is and as it was. Voices and music from the club mingle with the specters of the past. But I'm not here for them. Voltaire, did you just blow past the threshold? Brown. Somehow I can still hear him, if distantly. But if this works, soon it won't matter. So I push his voice away. I sharpen my focus. I summon my power. First, a test. The conversation Ravy spied on hasn't happened yet. Ravy had just opened the security panel. A pulse. A rippling of the ether. The air about me begins to swirl, strangely viscous and material, a liquid composed of unaccountable threads. A vortex spinning downward into something new. But instead of holding me down, I'm in control. It's me, holding up. I've never felt this way before, connected to something cosmic and essential, something deep within the story time itself. I focus on that connection. I draw upon it. A specter of the past smokes off me like a cloud, settling against the wall, the conversation with Cyan unraveling itself. The walls become translucent, glowing lines and neon geometry. I see Dad, Neve, Sinen, their words retracted and undone. So it's true. I wonder then, what happens to people without story names to protect them from the likes of me? What? I'm here. But I'm also... I don't remember. Well, that's weird, but also not my problem. I consider undoing his connection, but there's something satisfying about having a witness. Besides, what do I have to worry about? With power like this. I push his voice away again. Aaron fell over after greeting Neve. A pulse. But nothing happens. Expected. I always figured that I can affect myself without using my own story name because it's me. It's my own story. But Dad's story should be protected for me. Unless... Ervaron fell over after greeting Neve. Another pulse. Still nothing. Now that's curious. It's his story name. It should work. I turn to Sanan, or Blows or whatever. He shouldn't have a story name, so it doesn't matter. I know who he is. Sanan's hardware bugs and does not alert him to Ravy's security access. Sanan is also distracted and doesn't notice Ravy's use of the quandary. The vortex around me swirls with energy, and the scenery plays out as before, but as expected, Sanan begins to look off balance, distracted. He doesn't catch me this time. Yes. I turn back to Dad. Ervaron coughed. Nothing. Aaron stumbled. Nothing. Ervaron sneezed. Ervaron waved his hand. Dad was finally honest for once in his goddamned life. Nothing. I don't get it. I guess he lied to me about his story name too. Figures. Well, it doesn't matter. I'm done with lies. I'm done with ultimatums. I'm done with politics and games and gangs and collectives and revolutions. I'm done with all of this. So I guess Tarrolf was right. Finally, I can live my life, find my home, feel safe, in control, make my own choices, be with Kavir. Finally, I can be free. If I just seize this opportunity, if I just make it happen. So I close my eyes, and I summon my power. All of it. You are not ready. The vortex becomes a maelstrom, and I become a god. Ravy has always been, listen. My voice catches as I feel an icy needle shoot through everything that I am. The atmosphere thickens with an oppressive hunger. I struggle to take another breath. No. Not now. I can still do this. Ravy never... hear us. A cold thread entangles me, wrapping around my throat. It doesn't feel at all like the swallow's embrace, their glittering lifeline. It pulls me towards a void, a yearning, a craving never satisfied. Until me. It draws me in. Feelings, memory, hunger. So much hunger. A connection builds between us. I see fire, cities reduced to ash by thousands of fingers of light. The skyline of Senlios marred by the machines of war. Mutation, transformation, abomination. Pain and ruin and death. You can change this. We will help you. Whispers caress the edge of my mind. Listen. Why wouldn't you want to fix this? Don't you want to be the hero? Didn't you wish to be a god? Ravy, you don't know what you're dealing with. Get out. His voice is weak, panicked. You can have everything. Just tell us your story. I just want to be happy. I choke. Ravy only wants... The thread becomes an iron tether, a hook, an anchor buried in my chest. The maelstrom of me becomes wild, my power unfocused. I feel it surge towards reality, those terrible visions. I can't, I have to hold on. Listen. 1,000 whispers surround me. Unshaped story roars against the threshold. It's too much. Who are you? I fall to my knees. Crown was right. The swallow was right. Dad was right. I try to grip it, control my power to escape. Ravy, but it's too late. The line draws taut, the whispers spinning, sorting through the story of my memories. Who are you? The story of me. I feel myself pulled towards something terrible, rendering from the very ether. And then he appears. His voice is steely and cold, a razor behind gentleness, a toxic mockery of parental benevolence. Cruel and kind, distant and familiar. You listened. The fullness of an eyeless, smiling maw. We know you now. The needle tips of countless slithering tongues drawn together. Coiling, ready. Story of stories. One after another, they pierce and taste me. Vision Keeper. I feel something essential inside of me shatter. The hidden barrier keeping him out. My story name. Ravayan. To be continued. Well, he was warned about doing that. You know, going into the story time, using the powers sort of unchecked. And I believe that what we're seeing, or what we saw, is what was trying to draw him in at the beginning of the visual novel when he was racing Kavir. What it actually wants him for is still to be seen, but yeah. I am kind of curious though. Because I kind of feel like at least part of what's happening is sort of the dad telling Ravy to like, hey, I know you're probably watching, so I kind of want you to, do something. But I'm pretty sure Ravy was never supposed to go full out. It is also interesting that Ravi's father either never gave him his actual story name, which is what protects you from the story time, or is somehow immune to it. I'm also wondering if Tarrolf is also immune. For some reason, I have it in my mind right now that Tarrolf was also very interested in the whole story time thing, and that he would get sort of, he wanted Ravi's father to tell him about it or something, probably as a protection against the story time. If you hear a dog barking, it's my sister's dog downstairs. I'm very sorry. Annoying chihuahuas and all. Anyways. But yeah, so very curious what's about to happen to Ravy. I'm also curious if this concludes the chapter because, I know it says to be continued, but like to be continued in the next chapter, probably. Because once you start this current section that I'm reading, it shows an image of what I think is Ravy falling into like a pitch black darkness, and then like the monster that Ravy just saw at the bottom of it, like, threatening to eat him. But yeah, so I'm like, is this the end? And then we're gonna get over to like the next one, or what's going on? Anyways, also a lot of really funky sounding names. They did include like the pronunciation guide in certain names, and you probably don't see it. Oh, well, you won't be able to see it because I go back and then like I'll see the name, I'll click it, I'll try to memorize it as best as I can, and then I go back and then I reread the sentence, and that's what you actually see. If I read it wrong, then oh well. It's not really my fault. It's just how it sounds to me. Especially if I read it right the first time, and then when it reappears without the pronunciation guide, I read it wrong again. So like, I can't help it. I will admit, I kind of wish that was also in the loom. The loom being, of course, the whole, is it in the preference? Oh no, it's in extras. Hold on. It is in this. Like, if you could go to personalities and then go to like Derek, like Alodameric, like it would show like the pronunciation here too. That would actually be very helpful. But yeah. What else? But it is still helpful nonetheless. It is helpful with stories like Cienie, or the Polish visual novel. It would be helpful if it was always there, what a weird name would pop up, but like, I know coding that is a pain because I have seen it at least with Cienie in the code. Because when I'm editing videos, I'm looking at the script file, and I'm looking, it's like, okay, the song pops in here, the song pops in here. That way, when I edit it sounds seamless. Just so you know, I'm not looking through, to spoil myself. I'm looking through it after the fact. Anyways, but yeah, so, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I know how much of a pain in the butt it is to have to always put that there when a word that needs help with pronunciation appears, but like, yeah. Also, again, it's not my fault that I pronounce these wrong. It's an actual thing where, because of how I grew up learning English and Spanish, I sometimes pronounce certain words in a specific way that it sounds good to me as an English and Spanish speaker. So sometimes you'll see me pronounce certain names either as a Spanish speaker would, like Karina instead of Karina, or Karina instead of Karina. Especially when I'm reading. Like when I'm reading, I'll tend to pronounce things in English, but if I know that the speaker is speaking Spanish, or at least is a Spanish speaker, then I'll try to pronounce it like in Spanish. Like instead of saying Karina, they would be saying Karina, or, well, you know what I mean, right? I hope you know what I mean. Anyways, but yeah, so ramblings aside, things are getting very interesting, but still a little bit confusing, but still very interesting. I hope to see Kavir soon again. He was a draw for me, at least at the beginning, although I do like Alodamaric. Or actually, how would you pronounce his short name? Derek? Whatever. I actually like pronouncing Alodamaric better. But yeah, still salty that I did not win that little contest. I wanted the picture with him. Anyways, but yeah, so what are your thoughts so far? Are you confused? Do you know what's... Are you making heads or tails of what's going on? Do you find the whole story time thing that Ravy is going through interesting? Do you think it's an interesting... I hesitate to call it power, but I guess it is kind of like a power. It's an ability. It's something that is unique to Ravy and his father. It would be interesting thing to have, but I do see how it could be misused by other people who either got it as how Ravi's father said, like, oh, was it the chairman or one of the bad people that are searching for this AI thing, how bad it would be if they got their hands on that sort of ability where they could literally say, and these people suddenly die. These people suddenly don't exist. You would basically have the power of a god to be able to change the way the world operates. But yeah. Anywho, so, write down in the comments what you think, and thank you all for watching / listening. If you would like to play String Zero yourself, you can do so by going down into the link in the description, which will have a direct link for the itch.io page where you can download the game and play it yourself. And if you would like to support the project, they do have a Patreon where you can get early access to build a String Zero and some other stuff. And I do believe that the Patreons do have some say in how the story works, or maybe like some of the mechanics. Like the whole pronunciation thing was actually a Patreon request, as they do say in their little devlog thing. Although, I mean, I also wanted that, so, I'm just saying, I might have had a hand with that. Probably not, but still. Anyways, but they do have also a Discord in case you want to join in and, talk about the visual novel there. What else? Also, my links down in the description. You'll probably be watching this in December. So hopefully you're enjoying it. Hopefully you're enjoying your probably winter. Not despairing in what's gonna be happening in the coming year. But yeah, so yeah. Anyways, but yeah, so my links down in the description, my channel member link in case you want to become a channel member, view all these videos ahead of time when they're being scheduled. This is November 29th when I'm recording this, and you're probably watching this in December, hopefully, maybe a little bit later, I don't know. But you could have been watching it very soon after I finish editing it. This is one of the harder ones to edit because of the music. But still, what else? Also, my throne, in case you feel generous, you don't have to, but it's nice. Or my Ko-fi in case you feel generous through there. It's all up to you, no pressure. Just saying. Anyways, but yeah, so I guess that's it for now, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.